Today's morning 4-3-2-1. We are in John chapter 20. John chapter 20. This is a redo. Last Friday we had sound problems, and so we had to dump that one. We had no sound. That's how bad the problem was. We have a new microphone today. Let us know if you hear very well from it today. So thanks a lot for joining us. John chapter 20. John chapter 20 really represents what separates Christianity from every world religion, and that is the resurrection of Jesus Christ. In John chapter 20, we find Mary Magdalene going to the tomb. When she gets to the tomb, she finds that it has been opened. She goes and gets Peter and John. Peter and John race to the tomb. John outraces Peter to the tomb, but Peter is the first one in. In verse 6, we find Simon Peter came in, followed him, and went into the tomb. And he saw the linen cloths lying there, and the face cloth, which had been on Jesus' head, not lying with the linen cloths, but folded up in a place by itself. There's a deliberate action. Then the other disciple, who had reached the tomb first, also went in, and he saw, and he believed. At this point, they leave to go back to the other disciples, and Mary Magdalene is left there. And when she is there, in verse 12, we find that she saw two angels sitting there where the body of Jesus had been laid, and one of them asked, "Woman, why are you weeping?" She tells them that she believes the body of Jesus Christ had been taken. But notice with me verse 14. Having said this, she turned around and saw Jesus standing, but she did not know that it was Jesus. Jesus said, "Woman, why are you weeping? Whom are you seeking?" Supposing him to be the gardener, she said to him, "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have laid him, and I will take him." Jesus said to her, "Mary." She turned and said to him in Aramaic, "Rabboni." Jesus said to her in verse 17, "Do not cling to me, for I have not yet ascended to the Father, but go to my brothers and say to them, I am ascending to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God." Mary Magdalene went and announced it to the disciples. Beginning in verse 19, we find Jesus' final interaction with the disciples in the Gospel of John, aside from chapter 21. In verse 19, on the evening of that day, the first day of the week, the doors being locked where the disciples were for fear of the Jews, Jesus came and stood among them and said, "Peace be with you." They later, because Thomas was not there, told Thomas what had happened, that Jesus had been resurrected. Thomas did not believe. And in verses 24 through 28, we find Jesus interacting with Thomas. In verse 24, now Thomas, one of the disciples, called the twin, was not with them when Jesus came. The other disciples told him, he said, "I will not believe." Verse 26, 8 days later, his disciples were again inside, and Thomas was with them. Although the doors were locked again, Jesus came and stood among them and said, "Peace be with you." And he said to Thomas, "Put your finger here and see my hands, and put in your hand and place it in my side. Do not disbelieve, but believe." Thomas answered, "My Lord and my God." Thomas said, "Have you believed?" Jesus said, "Have you believed because you have seen me? Blessed are those who have not seen and yet believed." And the gospel and the chapter ends with John telling the purpose of the gospel really is to be given to us, those of us who have not seen, so that we too may believe. Austin, what do you have?
Well, when Mary's standing outside of the tomb, she's standing there weeping. And the two angels that are sitting there, they see her and they ask her this question, "Woman, why are you weeping?" It's an odd question because obviously why she's weeping. She tells them, "My Lord's been crucified and I can't find his body. He was here and now he's gone. It seems like somebody's taken it away." But when you think about what Jesus has been teaching his disciples and those following him, it makes sense why they would ask this question. Because Jesus has told his disciples and those following him, "I'm going to die and I'm going to be raised." So their question is, why are you weeping? You don't need to weep. Jesus has been raised. He's been resurrected. I think there's a wonderful lesson in there for us. There's a lot of things in this world that can make us weep, that can make us grieve, but we need to remember, ultimately, we don't have to weep because Jesus has been raised, and because of his resurrection, we have confidence in our own resurrection.
Amen. Building upon that, I think this chapter ends begging us to ask the question, do we believe? We haven't seen, like Thomas initially, the resurrected body of Jesus Christ. But Thomas did see the resurrected body, and Jesus said, "Blessed are those who will believe, though they have not seen." Well, that's us. There will be a day when we will see the resurrected body of Jesus. Our bodies will be resurrected as well. The question is, will we believe based upon the testimony of Peter, James, John, and even of Thomas that Jesus really is the Lord and he really is our God. John wrote this gospel so that we would believe. I hope you'll believe. And if there's anything we can do to help you believe, we'd love to do so. Well, thanks for listening this morning. If you have any comments, you'd like to make some kind of application, write it down in the comments below on Facebook. We'd love to hear from you. God bless. Have a great day. We'll finish up the book of John tomorrow.